Hi everyone, it's Kev's My Classic channel. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing Geelong's season for 2021. If you are a returning Kev's My Class, welcome. But if you are new to the channel and you're watching this for the first time, like, comment and subscribe. Season over, Geelong made 12 out of 18 prelims. It's tough. It's really tough if you're a Geelong supporter. I think looking back on it, you think grand finalists, prelims, even like elimination finals as well. Being the finals in every year and just losing. I think 2015 was the only season when they didn't make the finals, and since 2011 they've had a good home and away record, but they haven't converted that into premierships. And I look back on last night's game and it's a 16-6 record, third on the ladder. Which is what more I could say on it. You look at it and you think it's a failure. It's a failure for Chris Scott. It's a failure for the Cats. They failed in every department. They had 12 players that's over 30s. Can you believe it? You got Henderson, Josh Jenkins, Patrick Dangerfield, like Joe Selwood as well, who's up there. So there's quite a few on that list that I can go, that they're in for now. Sean Higgins is another one they're brought in. Isaac Smith is another one from Hawthorn, a 3-time premiership player. So all these free agency that they've had, they're able to bring in more into the side. And you have a look at Narkle and Parfit as well, and Jordan Clark. Those type of guys, they haven't quite gone into the team, and I think because the senior players are really, that they're all in for it, like a Jordan Clark, who you think, if I'm not getting a game, I'm sorry for him for now, but if I can't get a game, what's the point of me playing in Geelong? It's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's a terrible season for Geelong. They made a prelim, great effort, but it's a failure. The fact is that they've got all these guys in, and you think, well, when is the next premiership? That tactic does not work. If you're consistently falling short and failing every single year, if your expectation is to win a premiership or make a grand final, I think then all you're going to do is win a final. It's not like it's going to be a consistent thing. On the outside looking in, you see what happens. Geelong aren't as good as what they think they are, and I think that does count into maybe they're just not good enough. They're not good enough to be up there every season. So I think that they don't have too many top 10, 15 draft picks. Yeah, for sure that is the case. But, it's a missed opportunity for Geelong. It is a really missed opportunity. I don't see Geelong that much being a top 4 team now. If I were to say what has gone wrong, I think the pressure should be on Chris Scott I think, he's got a year 2 left on his contract. I start blooding the kids. The real reason why I say start blooding these kids and actually go through a rebuild is because then if you try and go for at least 1 or 2 more years pushing up the ladder and trying to be up there in contention every year, then how is that psyche's going to be if you keep falling short? If you keep falling short at the same hurdle in finals, whether it's elimination finals and having a good record and then falling away in finals, I think that you're going to have to start rebuilding this list and start playing kids, start making decisions on these senior players, because you can't keep being up there for so long without having to start that rebuild and start looking for that next wave to try and build up for a premiership. And I think Chris Scott is the man that can take him forward, and I think that rebuild should happen. But whether or not he wants to do it, it can be a bit stubborn at times. I think Selwood's been a wonderful player for the Cats for a long time as a captain. I think Tom Hawkins as well. He's up there, but and I'll go through their record since then, because they've lost in straight sets. And that was against teams like North Melbourne as well, and even playing against Geelong, against the Hawks as well. They're falling short. But the wins that they've had in final, and the last time they played Melbourne in the final was 2018, and they lost just like that. And you think, well, you play, you lose first week against Port Adelaide, beat Collingwood last year, beat Brisbane, but then you lose to Richmond in the grand final when you're 22 points in front. I don't think, and the same thing in the prelim, in 2019, they dominated. They beat West Coast as well. They lost to us. So I think that's what needs to happen. So my concerns are that they, in 2017, to lose to Richmond, beat Sydney, play Adelaide, lose to Adelaide, and then 2016, that's when they play finals, and they lost to Sydney in the prelim as well after beating the Hawks. 2013, they lost to Fremantle at home. So I think the way it's going, I think that's telling you that they're on the incline. They need to start focusing on what they can do now and start looking for that next wave of premierships. So they start off the season, I think, pretty good. I think from memory, they beat Port Adelaide last, when they met during the season. They've had probably a good beating the Bulldogs at home and really showing, like, the way they play against Western Bulldogs is the fact is that Geelong are a more mature team, able to handle that pressure and win some of the close games that they beat us as well. Geelong just don't put teams away, I think, when they need to, and I think that's what boils down to, I think, in the way that they go about it. And I look at the positives. I think the positives is that you beat Port Adelaide early on, beat Richmond twice. And that's something that people got to realise, that they absolutely smacked Richmond twice, and to do it at the MCG in the grand final rematch, you certainly take a lot out of that performance. And we know that Richmond are struggling for form, and we know, like, how much that Richmond lost to us and they lost to the West Coast Eagles as well. Geelong did beat the West Coast Eagles down in Geelong. I think that's always positive when you can beat top 8 teams from last year. I think there would have been probably more teams, I would think, as well. But maybe it's not enough. I think they might have beat Hawthorn as well. But it does probably depend as well. So I think the positives are that they can beat the teams that they need to beat. And start focusing on the teams that tend to struggle against. As well, the Western Bulldogs is another one. Brisbane, I think early on, and they did. So I think that's what you probably will expect the way that the season has gone, I think. And you start pushing for that spot that you need to. The negatives, I think, well, could you say the positive was last week for Geelong to beat the Giants? I think you can say that. The negative of that, you lose to Port Adelaide and you lose to Melbourne 3 times now. That's the key. Losing to Melbourne twice and losing to them in the final, I think that's what makes me more concerned. That you look at this great Geelong team and you go, that's where it lands. I think to make it to a prelim could be a positive, but I don't think Geelong fans should be happy with that. I think you should be disappointed and you should be frustrated, because this is a performance that I see, guys, we can win. So I think that knowing Geelong, they won't rebuild. They'll keep trying pushing and pushing. But to get smacked by 83 points when it could have been 100, isn't a great sign, I don't think. And it's not great. It took Geelong a while to win a premiership as well. So my guess is start rebuilding for the next 2 to 3 years and start playing kids and go, right, we'll have some senior players there to experience. but we're not going to guarantee them a game every week. And I think that's what it comes down to and boils down to what you got to do. That I think as well. But other than that, might be called it's time for rebuild for that 3 or 5 years, and then get some kids into the draft and start playing, developing them now. So, how do I look at a rating out of 10? I think you look at the last game of the season, and I tend to look at, could it be a 9? Possibly. It's not a 9. I say that drops down to an 8. Let me know what you think. That can be adjusted. I think an 8 out of 10 certainly does it. And the reason why that is, and I might be harsh here, I don't think that they're that good. But it's how I see it with the Cats. So, is it a fail or is it a tick? Making finals or winning a premiership with the... I guess you go it's a fail because of the list. You bring in players, Josh Jenkins, Jeremy Cameron, Sean Higgins, Isaac Smith. You bring in Dangerfield to help as well. I think over that 5 or 60 period, it is a failure for that reason. Because you're in it for the now, you're in it for the premiership. So regularly, I think it can be that second forward. I think they need a ruckman with Reece Stanley. Tom Stewart's out and for the season, so next year he'll come in. But other than that, I just don't see just many positives that come out of these successful being on the teams that they should. Like the Adelaide Crows, I think that they lost early on, and you think, look at Adelaide now, I think compared to that, like you can't lose too many games. And I feel worried that we're going to have the season that we're having, because in the way that certain teams are going to play, like, has the game gone past them? Is it Geelong's stubbornness not to rebuild when they've got the chance to? Is that what's going to worry most fans? Or are you nervous to even start rebuilding and looking at the draft? Because I think that's where you can get the success in playing those drafts and really start launching into it and playing like you need to as well, because you got to start playing kids and really start looking for the future, because the long term is to be up there, but then the short term is to start to rebuild. And the more I reckon you see that, I think the better that this team will get in the future. Do I see them going further? No, I don't. But I think with my tough calls, I think that we're going to have to start looking at it for sure. And I think start rebuilding while you can. And that's it. That's the last hope and going for a premiership. And maybe it's time to get some senior players away. Start looking at moving some of these guys on for some currency, or maybe start retiring these, because that is the way that I go about this as much as possible. That's the end of the, from my view. I had Geelong in the 8. I think they were part of the 8. But let me know what you think. I probably might have this as a premiere for you guys. But like, comment, and subscribe. Go the Pies.